And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger there with Planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go. Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to another NSF live stream. You are looking at a Falcon 9 rocket at Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, getting ready to launch the Starlink Group 8-11 mission with a mix of V2 Mini and Starlink Direct to Cell satellites. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and we are excited to see this mission launch today. I, though, am not the only person that will be talking. Thankfully, I am joined by our ever-competent cohort of co-hosts, starting off with Mr. Max Evans out there at the Cape. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, Jack. It's always a good day to have you on hosting a Starlink mission. And for once, we are actually out here at a decent time of day and not at God knows when, early in the morning.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with this situation. It's daytime. It's a Starlink out of Slick 40. There's light in the sky. This is different and strange to me.
It absolutely is. And it's also boiling hot today. So we are getting the full Florida experience on the Space Coast this morning.
Indeed. Also joining us today is D Wise. D, how are you doing, bud?
I am doing great. It is a warm day, just a couple clouds in the sky, and we've got 2 rockets vertical right now, and we're looking out at 40, ready for a launch. So,
Good deal. Y'all, if you have any questions, be sure to @ NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we will go through some questions as we go through the stream here and wait for Falcon 9 to start propellant loading. Also, we have Mr. Ryan Caton operating the stream today. Thank you, Ryan, for doing so and putting up with us chuckleheads. In the meantime, let's do a quick rundown of today's mission. I said it was a mix of V2 mini satellites and direct to cell. I believe it's 13 direct to cell and 8 V2 mini. But where are those Starlink satellites going? What sort of trajectory should we expect today, Max? Do you know if it's northeast, southeast? What's going on there?
So just like every other Starlink mission for the past month and a half or so, it is heading off on a northeastern trajectory on about a 53.16 degree orbital inclination. So essentially, it'll look identical almost to a Falcon 9 flying to the International Space Station. So if you are, say, north of Cape Canaveral in the New Smyrna Beach, Daytona, or Jacksonville area, normally you would have a great viewing spot for a night launch, but for daytime, and especially with where the sun is right now, that is going to affect your viewing. So I'm not sure how much of it you're going to end up seeing. But if you are south, you will also have a good view as well, because the sun will not be directly in your face, and you're looking away from it. But yes, it will be heading on a northeast flight path today.
Good deal, and you can see the trajectory map right there on the left-hand side of the screen. Thanks for that, Max. Max and D are both out in the field. Oh, what? We have a fancy pointy arrow now? Ryan is really pulling out all the stops. Way to go, Ryan. But yeah, both of you are out in the field braving the mosquitoes and the humidity and the alligators. D, give us a sit rep. What's the weather like? Looks a little hazy today.
yeah, it is definitely a bit hazy, and the lighting isn't ideal, but it is a bright and warm day. There's a lot of blue skies, and there are, of course, quite a few clouds in the sky as well. As far as the actual forecast, the 45th Weather Squadron predicted a 30% chance of violation based on those clouds. So it's the cumulus cloud rule and the anvil rules that are the concern for the window this morning. Other than that, there aren't too many other risk criteria. The upper level wind shear, booster recovery weather, and solar activity are all looking fine. So it's just that chance of clouds, which, of course, on a Florida day, as we get closer to noon and the afternoon time especially, showers become more and more common. And so we're just looking at those clouds, and it's otherwise a pretty beautiful day, honestly.
Excellent. All right. Well, hopefully the clouds add some context to the liftoff shots, and we get some nice views today. So thank you again to both of you for being out there. Were you both up this morning for the arrival of Blue Origin's recovery ship, Jacqueline? Which I'm really tempted to call Jacqueline too, but I'm just gonna go by the book here and say Jacqueline. Max, were you up and out and shooting that?
I was debating, and the goal was to be out on a helicopter for arrival, but the helicopter location that we use in Port Canaveral was not open that early, unfortunately. So I opted to stay in because the light was also looking not great. But I do kind of regret not going out. But I did eventually go out in a helicopter to catch Jacqueline and a shortfall of gravitas docked together on the north side of port to get a sense of perspective and context between the two of them.
Conspective or per context?
Your what hurts?
But yeah, that was a loaded question because I saw your tweet and it was a great shot. So be sure to follow Max on X. I feel dirty. So you can check out
Why do
these
you feel
awesome
dirty?
shots. Because unlike you, I'm not out in the Florida early morning, late morning, and there's not going to be any rain showers. So, anyways, way off the rails already. Dee, did you manage to catch Jacqueline this morning, or were you too busy getting in position for the stream?
I did not make it out there this morning. I will try to swing by port this afternoon because there are definitely some cool ships that have been through the port recently, and I definitely want to go see Jacqueline. So, unfortunately, I was not out there this morning, but I will make my voyage.
Just like Jacqueline did all the way from France. This picture here really sells this transformation we've seen at the port of Canaveral. We have a SpaceX drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas there on the right, and we have Jacqueline there on the left. And eventually, hopefully, very soon, both companies will be recovering boosters right there in the port. It's going to make for some really amazing imagery. So, really looking forward to that. Make sure you check out Space Coast Live, where we broadcast these sorts of things happening live. And again, follow the team on the socials because they make cool stuff. Good job, Max. Speaking of drone ships, what drone ship are we expecting for today's landing? Because it's not an RTLS, right?
Correct. With these Starlink missions, they are all drone ship missions, and this time we have just read the instructions for what will be its 90th landing. This is also a very fast, I believe it might be a record turnaround time. It is right on the line for the turnaround time for just read the instructions because it had the previous Starlink mission. It came into port, and I think it was out of port in like 4 hours or something crazy.
Wow.
So that was a very quick turnaround time for that drone ship, of course, up northeast of the port. A shortfall of gravitas is still in Port Canaveral because, of course, it had its interesting tip over situation. So they took the remains of that booster off the ship, and it did not head out quite as soon as we thought maybe it would. But it doesn't, of course, look like it has any sort of major damage or anything like that. So it should be a reasonably quick turnaround time is what we were expecting. But yeah, they're just working with the one for these two back-to-back missions.
And I will say that to add on to that, a shortfall of gravitas is undergoing some minor repairs on the deck, and we can only imagine what that's from. But I imagine those repairs should not take too long, and hopefully it will be out in the next 5 to 7 days. Because of course, with only one drone ship out there right now, and Starlink launching the booster that is supposed to fly Polaris Dawn, hopefully soon, has nowhere to land. So they really need to turn around, just read the instructions as fast as possible, assuming a shortfall of gravitas is out of action.
Right. Well, we'll just have to see how it plays out. You can see the Polaris Dawn stack sitting there at 39A. Meanwhile, the Starlink Group 8-11 stack sitting there on Slick 40. And, hey, we have cameras. We have lots of cameras all over. Anywhere we can point a camera at a rocket. So thank you to everybody for your support, for allowing us to do what is essentially the coolest job in the world. And I will really quickly hit some support, and then let's go through some questions. How about? So again, if you have any questions, at NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we'll see your questions pop up in some software we have running in the background. Rex Johnson, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. You get Discord access at Capcom level and above. The Discord is awesome. The member Discord rules. There's all kinds of cool people in there. There's all kinds of cool channels, whether you want to talk about gaming or, I don't know, rockets, or what you ate last night, or what you're making. If you have like a 3D printer, or if you're just a maker type person, there's all kinds of cool channels in the Discord. So be sure to pop in there. Also, you get the pre-show and post-show to the Flame Trench, which we do every Friday. So be sure to check that out. GL Stewart becoming a launch director. Holy cow. Thank you so much. That is truly outstanding. You get Discord access as well, because you are one of the higher levels of support. Also, Joseph becoming a launch director as well. Wow, you guys are the best. And let's see if I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Callistia Lee upgrading to Capcom membership. RC Horseman gifting 5 red team memberships. And Jared Walker gifting 20 red team memberships. That's extremely generous. We literally cannot do what we do without the membership program. The vagaries of the YouTube algorithm. We could put a lot of love and work into a video, and maybe it doesn't get watched a whole lot. So the fact that we have the members means we can plan things, means that we can make the types of videos that we think should exist, irrespective of our computer overlords. So seriously, members, you guys are the best. And if you got a gifted membership, make sure you thank the person that gifted it to you. All right, let's jump right into questions. Max, JS Web Productions is asking, stubby nozzle? Also, do you like stubby nozzle or not? I think we all know the answer.
Of course, I love the stubby nozzle and everything about it. It's just it's borderline perfection, to be honest with you. That is totally not biased whatsoever. But unfortunately, on these Starlink missions, given the performance needed from both the first stage and the upper stage, or stage 2, I guess you could say, they cannot go with the stubby nozzle because of the amount of performance and efficiency that they lose with. When
I think you went a little robot, Max. I don't know if that was just for me or if that was... oh, no, people in chat are saying robot. Maybe jiggle your internet connection there. But yes, we know you like stubby nozzle. And of course, the internet decided to punish you for that. D, what is your take? Maybe we might have...
Oh, I don't know
D
if you want to hear my take on stubby nozzle with how much you dislike Max's take.
Oh,
but I like
ahead.
stubby nozzle for its weirdness and its efficiency. And is it a little funky? Sure. But it's a way to optimize their production, and I don't know. Like, I kind of like stubby nozzle when it can be used, but we don't have a stubby nozzle here because they needed the most performance that they could get for this mission and for Starlink missions in general. So no stubby this time, but there's nothing wrong with that either.
What is this graphic that's on the screen right now? What is this? What is this blasphemy?
It's the best graphic that we have ever made at NSF, and you're watching it get made right now in real time by Ryan.
Metal print?
Oh, that's actually being made in real time. Ryan, no.
Metal
Bad
print.
Ryan. No. Metal print. Metal print.
I'm glad we have you back, Max. Thank you for holding out. Do you want to finish your thought, or should we move on away from this cursed topic?
I never want to move away from this topic. Are you kidding me? But basically, I was just saying that because of the performance needed from the second stage, they cannot go with the stubby nozzle, even with the cost savings that comes with it. Because the mass of these Starlink satellites between the direct to cell and the V2 minis, or whenever they opted to solely fly the V2 minis, like they are nearing the maximum amount of weight that Falcon 9 can fly. So they need every bit of performance out of Falcon 9 while it's still in its while it's still reusable. Good Lord, I cannot talk today, man. What is going on?
I'm being told in the back channels to say that Stubby is bestest.
Stubby is definitely not bestest.
You bring some good arguments to the table, both of you. I do like the efficiency. I do like the fact that it enables Falcon 9 to launch more often. But you know what? It just looks so cursed. But let's move right along and answer some more questions. We're getting a lot of questions about Starhopper's move.
Oh,
Johan says poor Hoppy being tossed away from his gatekeeper post. What are they going to do with him? Honestly, I have no idea. But it's not a poor Hoppy situation. I like this position better.
Jack,
you can see it better. I don't know if you are a member and you have access to the member.
Hey, Jack.
Hi.
Did you just say Hoppy on your own?
Yeah, I did. I'm reading the quote. I'm reading the.
No. This was after the quote. You said Hoppy. I heard it. We all heard it. We have evidence.
Oh God. Okay. Well, moving right along.
We all love Hoppy.
But yes, right now it's in a nice spot. Hopefully it doesn't get moved further, away from the viewing public. But for now, it is in a cool spot. And if you're a member, be on the lookout for member photos. I'm not sure if they've been published or not yet, but we have some great ones from last night, including because it's been moved, you can now see all of the dents and damage from all of the launches that Starhopper has witnessed. There, you can see them briefly in this insane time lapse. So yeah, there's some really cool imagery coming down the pipe, if not already. Hopefully Starhopper doesn't. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. I'm too scared. Hopefully Starhopper doesn't get scrapped and it stays visible to the public, to its adoring public, for a long time coming.
There are two S words that we never like saying in this industry, and that is scrub or scrap.
Yep. I feel like there might be a merch opportunity there. We'll have to workshop that.
Good idea.
Let's move right along. Looking for a good question. We have a bunch of. Here's one. Thomas is asking, what is the cumulus cloud rule? Who wants to take that? Just jump right in.
Let me actually pull up some of the documentation so I can be a little bit more accurate. But it has to do with the location of clouds near the launch pad, because the rockets can't be flying through certain super thick clouds due to lightning and the like. Let me pull up that rule so I can better describe it for all of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of convection in cumulus clouds as well. I wonder if part of that is like wind shear as well. Not just lightning, but also wind shear. I don't know. We'll wait for you to pull up the documentation so that we can get that down pat. But yeah, rockets are a complex machine, and you want to be sure the conditions you are launching them in are known and safe. And there's all kinds of interesting rules like this. Max, do you have a favorite range rule?
Probably the blast danger area, because that is the theoretical point where a human could theoretically watch a launch from. Because I think the blast danger area for Falcon, I think for Falcon 9, it can go up to a mile, and I think sometimes it can venture down to maybe 3/4 or even half a mile, depending on how old or new the booster is. But for Falcon Heavy, for a rocket holding 3 times the propellant of a standard Falcon 9, the blast danger area for Falcon Heavy is also only 1 mile. And from 3.5 miles away, Falcon Heavy absolutely rattles your teeth. So I cannot imagine Falcon Heavy, or I cannot imagine what that would be like to watch from 1 mile away.
Yeah, I think the closest I've been to a Falcon 9 launch is a mile and change, and holy cow. I can't imagine what a Falcon Heavy would be like from that distance. I think safe to say for all of us rocket photographers and videographers and what have you, goals. Goals to see a Falcon Heavy from that close somehow.
Yeah, so to go back, there are a number of different rules. So just to list off the sort of different rules that the 45th Weather Squadron is looking at, they are looking at the electric fields. So regardless of clouds, whether there's any electric charge in the area that could trigger lightning, they're looking at direct lightning strikes. And then there's also the cumulus cloud rule, which is just proximity to the cumulus clouds. So whether or not these are like attached clouds that are actively forming lightning, there is that risk within a certain proximity. So with the cumulus cloud rule, they're looking at the temperature of the cloud, the distance from it, and the surface electric field simultaneously, because of course they want to avoid lightning strikes for the rocket. Also, there's an interesting one, honestly, I wasn't very familiar with. I haven't seen this one before, but the smoke plume rule, which like if there are controlled burns happening in the area, putting up a lot of smoke, that ionized gas is a lot more conductive to lightning strikes or the like. So that might trigger lightning on top of, I'm sure they have more specific other concerns with smoke specifically. But yeah, there's a lot that the meteorologists are constantly looking at regarding the clouds, because they have like 7 different rules directly related to different clouds and flying rockets. So I'm not the expert on that, but
Well, that was a fantastic answer, so thank you. There you can see the info sheet from Patrick Space Force Base there. Neat.
now we're also we have come up just past the 38-minute mark. We are at 36 minutes and 50 seconds to launch, which means at T-minus 38 minutes, that is when the launch director would verify go for propellant load. So we are not sure if that has happened quite yet, but we should have a much better idea starting at T-minus 35 minutes. That's when the RP1 loading and first stage liquid oxygen loading begins. So again, we aren't sure if they did give a go or not, but we should start to get some hints of that in a couple minutes. Some of the other points in the countdown to look forward to is at about T-minus 20 minutes, we should see the large vent. That indicates that they're prepping to begin liquid oxygen load of the second stage, which starts at T-minus 16 minutes. And as they get closer to launch at T-minus 7, they will do engine chill. The flight computer begins final checks at 1 minute, and they give the final go for launch at T-minus 45 seconds. So we've got a lot of objectives here, but the thing to look for right now is any sort of condensation on the bottom of the booster to see if they do begin that liquid oxygen load at T-minus 35 minutes, which is coming up here soon.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, D. Good deal. Well, we shall have to see what happens here. Hopefully we see some of that condensation shortly. In the meantime, more viewer questions. Money Machine is asking, what metals do they use for the LOX plumbing on Falcon 9? This is an oddly specific question.
And it might be ITAR protected, to be honest with you.
Right. Nice try, industrial espionage person. Honestly, we have no idea. That's probably an Alex question. But I imagine it's Inconel, some sort of Inconel alloy. It's a very corrosion-resistant metal commonly used in aerospace. That's a total guess. We'll see if Alex types anything in the back channel to to correct that. But there you go. We don't know. I'm guessing some kind of Inconel alloy. Johan is asking, talking drone ships, isn't it time for SpaceX to get a third one at the Cape given the recent crash? I don't think the crash is what is going to necessitate a third drone ship, but the cadence sure certainly seems like it would. I would also like, because I'm biased, a second drone ship on the West Coast, but it seems like the need for that is far less pressing than the need for that at the Cape. Would you agree with that, Max? Do they need a third drone ship at the Cape?
I would say when things are running normally and they're launching Starlink missions every 3 to 4 days like they would normally without the without the hindrance of having to conform to a crew launch or a major commercial launch, they would absolutely majorly benefit from a third drone ship. And I think either Kiko or John Edwards may have hinted at a third drone ship coming not too long ago, but we have no confirmed info that is absolutely in the works. But we can hope, and for sure, once the cadence picks back up, they're definitely going to need it.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. A lot of questions about the drone ships. Here's another one from Torsten asking the same thing. Are there any rumors for another drone ship on the east and or west coast? So there you go. Keep the questions coming, guys. We're getting some good ones today. Let's see. Here's a good one. Oliver is asking, are you guys also a bit more nervous since the recent booster landing failure or not at all? Honestly, this is Jack speaking here. My opinions are my own. No. It's a secondary objective. Obviously, we don't want to see boosters lost. We don't want to see damage to drone ships, but the name of the game here is sending payload to space. SpaceX has a healthy fleet of boosters. They're making more. It's not great when they lose one, but it's not the end of the world. I think the biggest bummer with a landing failure is the very short, thankfully, mercifully, lull that we get in launches whenever something like that happens, and there has to be sort of a quick back and forth between SpaceX and the FAA. Max, what is your take? Are you a bit more nervous since the recent landing failure, or not?
I don't think nervous is the correct word. Maybe alert is the more correct the correct term for that, because we always just used to assume, yeah, they're going to nail the landing every single time, whether it be at LZ1 or LZ2 or on one of the drone ships. But with that being 1062 on its 23rd flight, we still don't exactly know what happened, and so that could have been an issue directly in correlation with the booster's age, or it could have been an absolute fluke anomaly. We don't know. But am I nervous? No, but I'm definitely more alert and watching landings a bit more closely now, just in case something happens.
D, what's your take?
I think it's a important reminder anytime we see any sort of an issue. When we saw the second stage issue, when we saw the landing, like anytime something like that comes up, it's an important reminder. But I wouldn't say that I'm any more nervous now. Like everything like that means, okay, they're going to take what they learned. They're going to improve everything moving forward. We saw that with the second stage, with the changing to the one, not the feed line, it was a sensor line, right? And they added new clamps and were fully removing it. Like, so they're with every single, anytime they have any sort of anomaly, they'll be working to improve that. So I'm definitely not any more nervous now than ever before.
And knowing the teams at SpaceX, like when they have an issue like that, if they ever have an issue like that again with Falcon 9, the teams are working so hard, and the teams are already so capable and so clever that there's full confidence in them to figure out what happened, like within a matter of days, if not hours, and then implement whatever fixture or solution they need to in order to get back flying again.
Right. Yeah, I mean, really speaks to SpaceX's executional prowess. It's really quite remarkable. So yeah, really good question there from Oliver. If today's landing is successful, this will be the third successful landing since the failure. So hopefully we see that, and SpaceX can continue to work on its landing streak and getting back to a triple-digit number. But speaking of booster landing, Max, tell us about this booster. Which one is it? Is it 10? It's always 10 something. 1077?
It's always 10 something. Like that's the safest assumption. It's like, oh, the sky's always blue, right? It's always blue. It's got to be
not right
always
now.
blue.
It doesn't look like it is right now at the Cape, and it certainly isn't right now at Starbase. It's just gray and rainy here. But point taken. Please continue.
Well, it'll be 10 for a little bit, and then they will get into the 11s, which will be pretty exciting. But the booster on the docket over at Slick 40 today is booster B1077, hopefully about to embark on its 15th flight in just under 30 minutes' time. The 14 previous flights have included the likes of Crew 5, GPS-3, SV-06, Inmarsat I-6F2, CRS-28, Intelsat G-37, NG-20, and 8 other Starlink missions. So I would say at around 15 flights now, this booster is definitely qualified to be middle-aged. I wouldn't say it's quite elder yet, but it is certainly not a young booster either. But 15 flights for a booster doesn't seem that crazy anymore, considering that even just 2 years ago, a booster flying over 10 times was like, oh my God, like is it going to make it? Is it going to pop?
Right.
So 1077 just being a workhorse like usual.
You gotta love how SpaceX just continually redefines what is normal. First
Yes.
one reuse was like, oh wow, oh then it was 5, then it was 10, then it was 15. Now we're up around 20, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Airliner like operations, baby, quote unquote. Yeah. Also, I didn't get a chance to wedge it in there, but I did think of a pun. You said they're gonna go to 11 eventually, because the 10,
Oh
77.
wow.
Yeah, so what you're saying is they're going to take Falcon 9 to 11. Sorry, Sawyer's not here. I got to make him happy.
And I had to give the exact same sigh that I would normally give Sawyer anyway, so you're welcome.
I'm honored. Speaking of making people happy, Bideford gifting 5 red team memberships. Thank you so much, Bideford. You're the best. Always coming out with support. Speaking of always coming out with support, Astro Knucklehead gifting a red team membership. What's up, bud? Hope you're doing good. Jared Walker with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. They say Jack is the best. Boo Stubby Nozzle and Boo Ship 26, and it's Hoppy. If I'm the best, then why?
I was going to say banned, but you said Hoppy, so you are redeemed.
They redeemed themselves.
Hoppy good. Go Ship 26. We got to get some Ship 26 support.
I'm not even gonna get. We're moving right along. Connor G,
got
thank
that
you.
static fire.
Connor G, thank you for the $10 super chat. They say this will be the shortest time between landings for Just Read the Instructions, beating the current record of 4 days and 23 hours, but still short of a shortfall of Gravitas's record at 3 days, 12 hours. Today's mission should be 4 days, 7 hours. Neat. Money Machine upgrading to Capcom membership. Thank you so much, bud. Again, pop into Discord as that propagates. Sometimes it takes a little bit for the YouTube gremlins and the Discord goblins to talk. But once that propagates, pop into Discord and say hey. And Devin Waldron gifting a red team membership. Thank you so much, Devin. Very generous of you. All right, well, countdown is ticking down. I do believe we have confirmation that they are go, despite not seeing condensation yet. Might just be a matter of the shrubbery in the way. So we are progressing through the count here, and you can see the
I
timeline.
think the main thing is the amount of heat distortion at the base of the rocket where we're looking for that frost. It's the whole rocket is blurred down there just from the heat.
There is a certain word to describe these viewing conditions, and that word is disgusting.
I thought you were going to say mid.
What? I mean, that is also accurate, but you
get like years worth of nighttime Starlinks, and you pray for a daytime launch, and then you get the heat distortion. It's like a monkey paw situation.
Especially in the summer, like you can never get away from the heat haze, even at night a lot of the time too.
Well, it hopefully will climb out of that heat haze, and we'll get some spectacular views from you and D of launch. So we will stand by for that here in just about 24 minutes and 30 or so seconds. JS Web Productions is asking, are these Starlinks equipped with satellite-to-satellite communication? Do we know? I assume they are, because that was like a recent thing where they changed over to having laser links.
I believe they all are
Right.
now, because that's an important part of their ability to support like aircraft over the ocean, anything like that. Anything where one satellite can't simultaneously reach a ground station and an end user, they need to have that backhaul communication. So yeah, once they did the initial tests with those, they've really just been putting that on every Starlink.
Yeah, makes sense. Speaking of the ground stations, I was in Idaho over the weekend, and as I was rushing to get to the airport to get back here to Starbase, I swear I drove past a Starlink ground station. There was like 6 rows of those of the radomes that we have come to identify with the Starlink ground station, out sort of in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and I was like, I bet you that's a Starlink ground station.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Oh, dude, what did I just say? I was rushing to get, like, come on, man. Do you understand?
Carson in the back channel, like, literally typed that exactly as I was saying it. Jack, it's a sign.
Carson, you and I are enemies now. I mean, we were already enemies, but, like, extra now. Extra enemies. Let's keep going. Rokwa is asking, when are inflatable drone ships coming into fashion? Buddy, they're already out of fashion. SpaceX wanted to catch fairings on a inflatable bouncy castle at one point, and then they
wanted to catch stage 2s in the bouncy castle, and the fairings were caught in nets, but not anymore.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That's even crazier. What's crazier? We might need a poll. Catching stage 2 in a bouncy castle or catching a fairing in a net? I think stage 2.
Catching
Stage
anything
2,
that's
definitely.
at orbital velocity is just utter insanity. That's why Starship reentry is bonkers.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait. Can you imagine when we get a Starship entry at night and just an insane plasma plume coming off of that thing? It's gonna be awesome.
I mean, we've already seen Dragon come in at night here in Florida, and it's like one of the most insane visuals you could ever imagine. And I can't even fathom like what Starship is going to look like, because it is orders of magnitude obviously larger,
Right.
and traveling faster eventually. Right. So it's wild to think about.
Cannot wait. I'll say it again. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. All49 is asking, what is the window for this flight, or is it instantaneous? Do you want to quickly, before the T-minus 20-minute event, take us through what's going on here? Starlink is kind of funky with how they do their windows.
I think D is away for a minute, so I can take that. Oh, okay, there you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they had a window going up until 12:59 today. And at one point, SpaceX was actually targeting 12:55 this afternoon, and then they moved it to the left to 12:07. So they had a pretty long window starting around 9 this morning. And with most of these Starlink missions, they do have a pretty long window. They're trying to throw up so many satellites that they can sort of just wiggle around where they actually put them exactly between the missions. So while we've had a lot of the early morning missions, we've had nice long windows. And then we are coming up on that vent if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because we are now at T-minus 20 minutes and 30 seconds, which means we are coming up on the T-minus 20-minute vent. Who wants to take it? It's always fun to sort of illustrate this and know that the countdown is progressing
There she blows.
expected. Max, what are we watching?
So essentially what they are doing right now is they are purging and cleaning the propellant lines in the transporter erector to prepare the lines for stage 2 liquid oxygen loading. The reason why they want to do that and thermally condition them is because the last thing you want to do is flow a super cold and super chilled cryogenic fluid into a pipe that is either at or well above room temperature, because that can cause flash steaming and a whole bunch of other issues between plumbing cracking, off-gassing, just a bunch of really nasty things that could happen and absolutely ruin your day. So essentially, that is what we are seeing now. And the venting is the byproduct of the liquid nitrogen that they are flowing through the lines to purge and cleanse them. Jack, talking while muted.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm a big dumb idiot. Always love seeing the 20-minute vent because it lets us know things are progressing as expected. Holy cow. Okay, Starship Troopers, great movie by the way, gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you so much. And Photon Empress, what's up, Jamie? Gifting 50 Red Team memberships.
Holy cow.
I still see chat is still going. Like, I'm still seeing the gifted memberships pop up in chat as people get them. So if your name just turned green, if you got a gifted membership, be sure to thank Photon Empress. That is extremely generous of them. Thank you. Like,
Thank you.
seriously.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, we can't do this stuff without the members. So this is like literally just the lifeblood of NSF right here. Thank you so much. Speaking of lifeblood, I feel like I'm overdoing it on speaking of, but you know what? It's a good segue. Speaking of lifeblood, we can see frost, I believe, on Falcon 9 as the soot is yielding to the lighter color, which is indicating that, prop is continuing to be loaded in the vehicle, as also indicated by the 20-minute event. So, yay, things are progressing. More questions. You know what? We're just going to take a hard right turn here. Johan is asking, what are your guesses on Starliner's landing on Friday/Saturday? Success or failure?
Boy.
Again, opinions are my own. I expect a successful landing. I really don't expect anything but that. Maybe they'll have a couple funnies, as they say in the aerospace industry. A couple things to look at here and there. And hopefully they can work out any kinks that appear and manage to launch Starliner again soon. Max, what do you think? Success, failure, somewhere in between?
I don't want to speak too soon. And obviously, Starliner, it's not a great situation for the teams involved, especially on the Boeing side, because we really do feel bad and feel for all the teams that are hands-on and managing the whole project.
Completely fair.
But it's with the whole Starliner program, and especially with CFT specifically, the mission itself, it's tough to imagine any sort of success being associated with this mission when you literally had to abandon ship with your crew. That's even though it likely will come back unscathed, the fact that NASA isn't confident enough to put Butch and Snoopy on it speaks volumes. And I want to think that the program as a whole will continue and that it will be successful, and then of course obviously it will come back just fine this weekend, but I don't want to speak too soon. I hope it does, but honestly, you never know.
As always, Max, a very classy answer. It really goes without saying. I think we all are children of the internet, and we all enjoy the memes. But it really does. It really is worth remembering that there are hundreds and, if not, thousands of people that work on a given program and put their time, their lives, their blood, sweat, and tears into these things. And I definitely feel for the Starliner teams at Boeing, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. D, what do you think? What's your
honestly
take?
I'm pretty confident. I won't say it'll have no issues on the return. I think that they're already not going to have the one thruster firing. They might have some thruster issues, but I'm pretty confident, for what it's worth, that I think they're going to have what would have been a perfectly safe return had the crew been on board. But simultaneously, I think it was still the right decision to play it safe, just because there is that question mark.
Right.
Like, they're being cautious, perhaps overly cautious, but at the same time, there's crew involved. It's worth it to have that extra caution. If there are those dissenting voices in the room, you have to play it safe. So even if we have a perfectly successful Starliner landing, people are going to say, oh, see, the crew could have come back. And it's like, yes, but I'm not going to fault the decision making to go with an alternate plan since there wasn't that confidence.
Indeed. Speaking of confidence, we have confidence that you will enjoy our new line of merch. It is the Engine series, and there is Merlin, Raptor, RS-25, and BE4. You can get them in color or not. They are quite delightful. I have two here with me right now. One is a Raptor and one is an RS-25 shirt. They're fantastic. Be sure to check them out. Pauline absolutely killed it on this design, as she always does. And it comes in various forms, whether you want it in mug form or hoodie form or long sleeve shirt form, whatever tickles your fancy. Be sure to check out the new collection there. It's awesome. Speaking of awesome, okay, now I'm hyper aware of saying speaking of a lot. Dank Jeb gifting 50 Red Team memberships. Y'all, that's insane. That's like 100 gifted memberships in the span of like 5 minutes. Dank Jeb, you've been coming out and watching our streams and supporting us for literally years and years and years. So thank you so much, buddy. Again, if you got a gifted membership from either Photon Empress or Dank Jeb, be sure to thank them. It's just a nice thing to do. They are not only helping you out by giving you access to all the sweet perks that you can get at Red Team level, and they're also helping out NSF. So seriously, thank you guys. And if you like what you see in the membership program after having been gifted a membership, I don't know, maybe like re-up, maybe like become a member and support the channel. If that's something you want to do, it's your money, it's your choice. Let's do some more questions. Craig is asking, any word on launch date for Polaris Dawn? Next spaceflight doesn't have it on the roster. I will defer to the Cape team on this one, but I think it's safe to say that recovery weather is super duper important on this mission, and it is also hurricane season. So
Yeah.
kind of tricky.
There is nothing set in stone yet. Obviously, they need a drone ship to recover the booster that flies Polaris Dawn, and the only drone ship that's out there now is just read the instructions, and that is set up to currently land or recover the booster that is flying this mission, which is Starlink 8-11. I don't want to say I don't think anytime soon, but just given the evidence in front of our faces, unless SpaceX decides at the very last second to abort launch Starlink and then launch, say, Friday or Saturday for Polaris to utilize the drone ship. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to be happening anywhere in the next 5 to 6 days, at least.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. And you can see that Ryan has found it on Next Spaceflight, which is a fantastic resource for upcoming launches. It's there. Maybe you just got to scroll a little bit. But Polaris Dawn is on Next Spaceflight. Let's see. Khalid is asking, do you expect a stubby Raptor in the future? Dear God.
I sure to God hope so.
Oh, no. Like, they already switched. Like, okay. Especially with Starship. Because with Falcon 9, it makes sense. They are not reusing the second stage. So that one-time cost savings is realized every mission they can use a stubby nozzle. It doesn't make sense to do that on a Starship where the same rocket will be flying again. The reason I love stubby so much, Chris, the reason stubby is so good is because it is that cost saving and it's that efficiency. And they would just be giving up that thrust on the second stage by trying to do a stubby Raptor. And then there would be missions that maybe it couldn't do. And so it doesn't make sense to do a stubby nozzle on Starship.
Not with that attitude.
Moving right along. Wow, Jared Walker gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Holy cow. I mean, like at a certain point, I run out of ways to thank y'all for the support. It's truly outstanding. And as we are at 10 minutes to go, you know what? We'll say thank you by continuing our coverage and doing the very best at it that we can. Thank you so much, Jared. Let's see. TerraSpace Official is asking, is the pusher in the top of the booster latched onto the engine nozzle of the upper stage, or just how do they separate it? I believe the pusher goes into the throat of the Merlin vac. I don't know if there's any latches there, but It's not like clamped on to the nozzle or anything like that. It just
That's correct. Yep.
pushes the second stage away. Good question, though. Chanman97 is asking, does anyone miss the stiffener ring on the second stage, or is that just me? You know what? No, I don't miss the stiffener ring. If only because it would always fly off right after second engine start, and everyone would be like, "Oh man, what was that?" And it's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. I don't
The
know.
best part is no part.
Yeah, there you go. D, do you miss the stiffener ring?
No, sorry, I'm still thinking about the stubby discussion as that's continuing. But no, I don't miss the stiffener ring.
Good deal. Barney Rubble. I was really tempted to try doing a Fred Flintstone there for a second, but I'll spare you all. Barney Rubble is asking, do you think Polaris Dawn Spacewalk will have an external camera to capture the hatch opening? I sure hope so. I don't know if they will or not, but I sure hope so. Max, what do you think?
Agreed. I really hope so. If anything, it would be on the nose cone, but I'm not sure.
Right. D, thoughts?
I'm definitely very hopeful that we'll get lots of great coverage, and a camera in the nose cone looking down at the hatch as they come out would be a really, really cool view. I hope we have it.
Yep. I mean, surprise, surprise. 3 camera people are pro camera.
The best camera is every camera.
All cameras, yes.
All
I think
cameras.
if you were launching a second mission simultaneously just to have another Dragon that they can film the spacewalk from to get that full view.
That would
I think
be sick.
I think it's pretty safe to say that we would all volunteer as tribute for that.
Yep. You know,
They could even deploy like a CubeSat.
That's
from-
exactly you took the words
from
out of my mouth.
Dragon
Yes.
that would just hover to film them for this. I think
Yeah.
that'd be so cool.
That would be amazing. Like, what was the Mars mission? Was that was that Perseverance that had the 2 little CubeSats that had ejected for like comms purposes?
Yes, I think it was.
Things like that as like going forward, I think would be really cool. Like if you have a Starship in orbit, maybe you eject a little CubeSat drone buddy that checks out the heat shield or something, or has a camera on it so you have 6 shots. Either way, I am 100% here for it. More cameras, more better. D, you want to give us an update on where we're at in the old timeline here?
Yeah, so we are just under 7 minutes to go for launch. So this is when SpaceX is beginning their engine chill. So similarly to not wanting to shock the lines of the second stage with liquid oxygen, they cool down the engines so the parts that are going to have liquid oxygen flowing through them are not suddenly thermal shocked. Ahead of us, we've got at T-minus 1 minute, the flight computer beginning the final pre-launch checks and the pressurization to flight pressure. At T-minus 45 seconds, we get the final go for launch. And then at 3 seconds, the engines are commanded to start. So we are just about 6 minutes to go until we see liftoff. And there are still some clouds, but it should be a good one.
Fingers crossed. And I know we are getting closer and closer to liftoff here, so whenever you two need to hop off to do camera things, please, by all means, if I'm flapping my gums, do not hesitate to interrupt me and say, hey, Jack, you're big, dumb, stupid head. We need to go do camera things. So just let me know.
My mind immediately went to you saying either Hoppy or something along those lines, but not Hopper. Definitely not Hopper.
Moving right along, Jared Walker again. Thank you for the super chat. They say, just keep doing what you guys do. You know what, buddy? With the amount of support that we get from this stream and pretty much all of our streams, y'all are the best. And we're the luckiest people. We get to just keep doing what we love to do, which is bring y'all rocket launches anytime we can get a camera pointed at one. So 5 minutes to go. Let's send 21 Starlink satellites into space. Well, we're not sending them, but we're going to watch them get sent. Really quick, Charlie Cushing is asking, when stage 2 burns up, does it completely vaporize, or are there at least a tiny fraction of solid materials that make it all the way down? I don't know the answer to this. I always assumed it just burns up completely. Like that's the point of the disposal orbit or the disposal burn. Like I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I'm sure
Do
there
we
there are
know?
always small pieces that come down, and that's why they always have a specific area where they attempt to deorbit stage 2, just in case. But I'm pretty sure a vast majority of it gets burned up into microscopic or just very minuscule pieces. But we have seen pieces of Dragon come back and land in Australia, so that is not always the case.
There you go. Let's see. Craig Gillen asking, are there any known plans to replace Merlin engines on Falcon 9 boosters with Raptor engines on future boosters? No, Craig, there are not. There was an Air Force contract for a study of a Raptor on a Falcon 9 second stage, but that's frankly just not how rockets work. When you have a whole new engine, you basically need a whole new rocket. There's a whole series of design trades that have to be made with any rocket, and the tank sizes and proportions would have to be different for the different propellants. And at that point, it's basically a whole new rocket. So essentially, the short answer is no.
Wouldn't that be something, though?
It would certainly be something. I will give you that, Max. As much as I love to argue with you, that would be something.
Like, RVAC is like nearing the diameter of Falcon 9 in general, so that would be wicked. And imagine if it hot stages as well. Can you imagine?
Falcon 9 hot staging. Oh man, that's a sentence. That's a sentence of all time, Max.
The day of Falcon 9 hot stages is going to be a very bad day.
Yeah, we don't want that. Space Mike asking, are there any Falcon upper stages still in orbit? Would love to do a wet lab with one. I believe there are. Probably some of the older ones, or some of the ones from the really high energy orbits. Like, for example, I believe the Falcon Heavy upper stage for the demo flight is still up there, if I'm not mistaken. So, all right, well, we're coming up on 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We're going to have another one of those purge vents, just like the 20-minute vent, but I am going to let y'all do camera things. Thank you for hanging out with us on the start of the stream. And thank you for the awesome imagery you are about to provide.
Oh, thank you for having us. I'm going to try to stay tuned in as much as possible throughout the launch, but I'm definitely getting my camera set and ready now.
Good deal. What mic are we using today? Are we using your mic, D?
That will be Max's mic today.
Sweet. Looking forward to some good audio. Really quick, KQO American Lady, thanks for becoming a Padrat member. D with a store purchase saying hi. Wait, was that you?
No, that was not me.
They got one of the astrophotography prints. Nice. Let's see here. Joe Dissenberger? Sorry, I'm probably butchering your name. Thanks for becoming a launch director member. And Kevin Harrington, thank you for the super chat. They say, just sending love to the NSF stream. Oh, we have some news.
Oh, I see that.
Dang. We have some news, unfortunately, but you know what? It's better news than it could be. Brevard County Emergency Ops has said that we have deactivated our launch operations support team following a scrub of today's planned Falcon 9 launch. So that is a scrub for today, which is better than a RUD. Scrubs, not RUDs. I think we can all agree. There's the I don't even know what to call it anymore. Tweet? Zeet? Post? But it's also a pity. You know, it's good that they're being safe, but also it's a pity because Jared Walker, holy cow, with $150 super chat, essentially right as it's scrubbed. Jared, that is so much money. They say for the more camera fund. Dude, thank you. That is insanely generous. Like, wow. I really don't know how to express thanks appropriately. That is so much money. Thank you. All of your support on this stream. It's been truly outstanding. But you know what's also outstanding? Falcon 9, and it's going to remain out there standing because it's not going to launch.
Oh, that was bad.
No, it was good. that was good, right?
That landed about as well as 1062 did on its last attempt.
Nice, Max. Dang it. Well, that is a scrub, you guys.
That's space.
Yeah,
Yep.
Every time I say it, I have to caveat it with I hate this idiom. I truly viscerally hate this idiom. Space is hard. Yes, it is, and it's true. So that's why I say it sometimes at times like this, but it shouldn't be. And that's part of the reason why we like Falcon 9 and SpaceX so much, because so often they make it look easy. But you know what? You don't want to launch a rocket in conditions that are not conducive to doing such a thing. And here we can see a post from SpaceX. Due to unfavorable booster recovery conditions in the Atlantic, the team is resetting Falcon 9's launch of Starlink for tomorrow, September 5th. So that's what's going on there. 24-hour-ish scrub turnaround. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want to do is launch your rocket and try to land your first stage booster when your weather for downrange recovery is suboptimal. The last thing SpaceX needs to do right now is lose another booster.
Right.
That's the last thing.
And I will say it's times like these where the 24-hour delays start to really stack up when they have just the one drone ship currently in operation. To go back to that question way earlier tonight, it is times like these where, all right, they've got the drone ship stationed out there that they can't alternate. They're just stuck waiting.
And this is exactly why a third drone ship would be extremely helpful, because if there are other missions backlogged because of this current situation, cough Polaris, and also weather with that one as well.
Did you just say cough?
I did say cough. I'm sick. Cough.
Yeah, point taken. Well, there you can see some weather radar action. That's just how it goes with spaceflight. Sometimes you get a launch, sometimes you get a scrub. But as long as you don't get a RUD, we are all happy. Connor O'Kane, thanks for becoming a PadRat member. And once again, Jared, thank you so much for the insanely generous super chat. Well, I think with that, we'll start to wrap things up. Max, thank you for being on, good buddy.
It is a pleasure as always, and thank you very much for coming to hang out with us, even though the rocket did not get off the ground today. But we will try again tomorrow and hopefully send her skyward.
Fingers crossed. Make sure you follow Max on all the socials. Max, what's your Twitter handle?
So for both Twix and my Instagram are both _ and then my 4 initials, MGDE_.
Good deal. If I had mute powers, I would have muted you as soon as you said Twix, but you know what? There you go. And you can see Max's info pop up on the top right there. Be sure to give him a follow. His content's fire. You're fire, Max.
And you don't have mute powers, so.
Thanks. I take back everything nice I said. Also, D, thank you for being out there and setting up cameras. We really appreciate it. You can see D is on Twitter as DY's Cinema. Make sure you follow D as well, because D is also producing fire content.
Thank you. Always happy to be here. Always better when we see a launch, but best case, playing it safe. So I guess I'll see you all out here again tomorrow.
Indeed. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. You don't need to follow me. I'm good. Also, Ryan.
Go follow Jack.
Ryan, thank you for
follow
operating.
Jack.
Oh my God. Ryan, thank you for operating the stream. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the NSF socials, wherever you get your social media, whether it's TikTok, Threads, X, MySpace, GeoCities, Dig, Reddit. I don't think we probably should have a subreddit. Okay. All right. I get it. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you next time.
And here we go.
chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger there, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FTE off. Say again, FTE off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? We don't need any more of these.